Welcome, everyone.
You're tuning into
The SciNet
or the resident podcast.
Chismiscinet.
So, ayun. Ishi, Moises, kumusta? How are you both feeling these days?
Ngayon, that's some schoolworks and other responsibilities.
Bestie Same. I have been super stressed lately. You know what, ako? At least I'm grateful to have things that can help me cope. But to be honest, I am super drained right now. I think it's partially because of the online setup.
Same. But I'm actually kind of glad that we have considerate teachers that, actually make the workload later than usual.
True. Also, going back to face-to-face classes, I don't know if you have ever experienced this as well.
Yung ano?
Yung recess time. So you go to the canteen and all, and pagbalik mo sa room, nalock ka na ng teacher.
Yes, and let's never ever forget the iconic Ma'am, Sir, may nag-aaway sa room every October 5 just to surprise our dear teachers for
Teachers Month, the season where student fights suddenly break out and people suddenly get asthma attacks, all in the name of dragging our beloved teachers to the classroom for a surprise.
True to all, bestie. October is usually filled with heartfelt messages to let our dear educators feel our gratitude.
and cakes that are just as sweet. Don't forget the cakes.
I'm a little new here, so Ishi, Moises, how does Pasay usually celebrate Teachers' Day?
It's pretty much the typical type of celebrations din naman. Sometimes students would surprise their teachers, or sometimes after classes there would be a mass or a small program in celebration of Teachers' Day.
I see, so it's not quite as different as Teachers' Day in other schools, is it?
It's really not. The whole purpose of celebrating it is to show our teachers how much we love and appreciate them.
True. But there is this one surprise that I remember fondly. Remember our surprise for Ma'am Dari Moises?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, and I also do remember how we all panicked kaya di ba the cake arrived late and buti na lang talaga we were able to delay Mom's visit. We hanged her pictures on the walls, gave her flowers, and decorated the room, and so much more. And actually now, it's kind of sad that we can't do the same to other teachers. We can't throw them surprises, give them flowers or chocolates, or all of those stuff because we're in this online setup.
Speaking of surprises, we actually have here with us our beloved teachers, Ma'am Dari Portillo and Ma'am Camille Alvarez. Okay, so pa-hot seat naman tayo to our teachers. So speaking of Teachers' Day, parang given naman na may mga pa-surprise yung students. So on your part po, do you have a favorite surprise and would you care to share that experience to us?
Sa akin, I don't have like a favorite surprise, but I do have a favorite gestures ng student. And siguro yung pinaka natatouch ako kapag personalize yung greetings ng mga bata. Kasi for example, during face-to-face, no, may kaba kasi to attend the classes kasi medyo awkward ako. I don't know how to respond to surprises. Pero kapag personalized, for example, through PM yung message or nagbigay ng letters or flowers after the class period, na-appreciate ko yun kasi pakiramdam ko may tama akong ginawa para sa mga bata and they're doing that not because they're expected na to surprise the teacher kasi Teacher's Day. Parang pag personalize siya, mas nafe-feel ko na naaalala talaga ng mga bata kung ano yung na-contribute ko rin sa kanila. I think that's my favorite gesture ng students.
Ako yung pinaka tumatak sa akin or yung nare-remember ko talaga is yung Teacher's Day 2018 siguro, yung Ruby 2024, yung first advices ko kasi parang hindi ako nag-expect ng something kasi hindi talaga ako after sa mga surprise or anything. Tapos meron silang pa-emote nun na parang kunwari may nag-aaway siguro or may ninakawan. Tapos yung room namin nasa third floor, so paakyat kami doon sa room. Tapos biglang surprise, may surprise pala. Like nagkakalat doon sa room ng pictures ko na hindi ko alam saan nila kinuha. Bakit kahit high school pictures meron doon. Tapos may pa-flowers, may pa-balloons, may pa-cake. Tapos parang damang-dama mo yung effort ng mga bata. Super fun. Tapos up until now, like nakatago lang yung pictures namin sa phone ko. Also, yung sa batch 2021, yung nag-graduate pa lang. Parang kasi hindi ko na sila students noon, pero na-appreciate ko na kinantahan nila ako ng turete with matching choreography doon sa SL. Kahit hindi na nga nila ako teacher. So, hindi ko yun makalimutan and never makalilimutan.
You can definitely tell na may pa-surprise talaga yan if a teacher goes home on the 5th of October with roses and chocolates.
True, these small efforts can definitely make their day. Di ba, Ma'am Darian, Ma'am Cams?
Yes.
So moving on naman to our next question. I think we're all aware that so many students admire both of you. How do you make these connections?
Ako, sa tingin ko, sa pamamagitan siguro ng pagiging approachable, relatable, and considerate, feel ko lang naman na approachable ako, yung hindi natatakot yung batang lumapit or mag-message sa akin if gusto magpa-consult or mag-ask ng question para mag-clarify ng something. I also feel na kaya madali akong makakonect sa mga bata kasi nakarelate kami sa interests ng isa't isa or dahil same kami ng pananaw about sa mga nangyayari sa paligid or sa bansa. Tapos, ewan ko, pero feel ko kahit noong hindi pa pandemic, considerate ako sa students ko kasi ayaw kong nararamdaman nila na or nakararamdam sila ng masyadong pressure sa subject ko. Gusto ko fun lang, yung tipong palagi nilang nilolook forward yung subject ko kasi hindi nila iniisip na masa-stress sila kasi may activity or something. Parang chill lang, fun, habang natututo, of course.
Sa akin naman, I make conscious efforts talaga for the connections to exist. Kasi parang hindi ganun ka-natural sa akin to build rapport. Parang hirap ako minsan to make connections. So, nung unang taon ko dito sa PhilSci, syempre advisor agad ako, class advisor, tapos later on, naging batch advisor, tapos ala advisor. So, grabe yung demand and challenge talaga sa akin for that connection to exist. And then, dumaan talaga ako sa process, nag-self-reflect, ano ba ang gagawin ko para makakonect ako sa mga bata. So I think yung advisory class ko would remember na after class, magsistay pa rin ako sa room habang naglilinis yung sweepers, makikipagkwentuhan ako, una about lang sa school, tapos habang tumatagal, nagkikwentuhan na kami about sa buhay-buhay. Actually, that yung ginawa ko na yun, natutunan ka from Ma'am Dari. Di ba, Ma'am Dari, na-remember mo ba yun na? We had a conversation sa pantry, tapos nag-explain ako naman, paano ba ako makikiconnect? Tapos ang sabi talaga niya sa akin na, kailangan mag-effort ka talaga. Ipakita mo talaga sa mga bata na gusto mo makuha yung tiwala nila and kailangan maging comfortable sila sa presence. So, doon ako nag-start na kahit nahihiya ako sa advisory class ko, talagang nagsistay ako sa room. Tapos nung tumagal, nadagdagan na pag may activities, nagva-volleyball, talagang kahit na pwedeng magstay na lang ako sa faculty room para mag-check ng mga outputs, ng mga project. Talagang attend ako, manonood ako, makiki-cheer. And
yes,
through that, diba, yes, diba, yun talaga yung parang naging turning point ko. Habang nang tumatagal, parang kahit paano na-master ko na, okay, so, ganun pala yun. Except sa nandyan ka during class period mo, dapat mag-go ka talaga the extra mile para ma-create yung connections between sa akin tsaka sa student. Kasi kung wala akong gagawin, if hahayaan ko lang, kay may pagka-introvert talaga ako, if papairalin ko yun, walang mangyayari sa klase ko. So, Ma'am Dari, thank you for that. I owe that to you. Tas, syempre, thankful din ako sa student ko. Kasi naging open sila for that, na hindi ako nabigla din. Parang proseso talaga siya. So, I think that's how I made those connections. And up to now, being open talaga and talagang looking for ways para magkaroon ng connections. Thank you. Yun lang.
All love and appreciate it when our teachers actually try to sympathize with us. Diba, Ate Fem?
Yes, it really just builds a different type of relationship between teachers and students. Iba talaga yung vibe if ganun sila ka-approachable.
True. And speaking of building relationships, this will be our last question to our wonderful teachers. It's pretty much given that students learn from their teachers. In this case naman, were you able to learn something from your students?
Of all the lessons siguro na natutunan ko from my student, yung isang bagay na lagi ko talagang pina-practice is yun talagang to give my 100% in every class. Kasi, for example, ika-third class ko na or panghapon na klase, minsan parang pagod ka na, parang yung energy ko hindi na katulad nung energy ko sa unang class or sa morning class. Pero nung, for example, ng face-to-face, nakikita ko na yung student, talagang nag-e-effort sila sa klase ko. Pag may roleplay, nagko-costume, ready sa script. Tapos even now, the online class, pag nagsisend ng questions, nagpa-participate in the class, doon ako nakakahugot ng lakas, ng energy para talaga ibigay din yung best ko. Thus, when my student give their 100%, nakakapagbigay din ako ng 100. Pero minsan pag yung student hindi nakakabigay, I have to give my 200 naman. So yun yung natutunan ko na dapat fair ka talaga sa lahat ng klase mo. Kasi yung klase mo fair sila eh. Yung attention na ibibigay nila sa subject mo, yun din yung attention nila sa ibang subject. So para pantay, yung energy at saka yung activities, yung sigla na ina-express ko sa unang klase, talagang kailangan hanggang last class, ganun yung bahala na kung magkasakit after or talagang parang pagod na pagod ka, basta naibigay mo lahat. And yun yung itinuro sa akin ng mga classes ko.
Yeah, parang the same kay Ma'am Camille na yung energy sa klase, kailangan nandoon yung parang ipapafeel mo sa students na prepared ka, na gusto mo na ma-engganyo sila na mag-participate sa discussion mo. Also, sobrang maraming beses akong na-mind blown sa performance tasks and syempre sa analysis ng students ko sa isang particular na akdang pampanitikan. Let's say, El Filibusterismo. Like, since nag-start akong mag-teach sa Quezay noong 2017 hanggang last school year nung nag-LPD, may always akong additional or karagdagang analysis na nakukuha mula sa students ko. Like, parang, oo nga no, like pwede to, ang galing lang, like madaragdag ko siya. So mas parang lumalawak yung kaalaman ko or understanding ko mula sa chapter o sa chapter na yan dahil mismo sa students ko na mararamdaman mo, nag-effort sila at talagang inintindi talaga nila yung chapter ko. So parang mas na-iengganyo pa akong mag-teach or magturo kasi nararamdaman mo from your students na iniintindi nila yung chapter para makakuha sila ng mas maganda or malalim na analysis. And every year talaga, mas nagiging appreciative talaga ako sa mga bata. Like, mas nabibigay ko yung appreciation sa bata kasi nararamdaman ko yung effort na binibigay nila. Pinararamdam nila sa'yo na, ma'am, hindi ka Filipino lang. Yung subject mo hindi Filipino lang. Filipino siya and important siya sa amin. So, ganon.
It was without a doubt an extremely challenging year, yet it was still a very remarkable event in PSHS EVC.
It wouldn't have been possible without our staff members' extraordinary work, relentless commitment, and unparalleled creativity. To all PSHS staff, we cannot express our gratitude enough for your commitment and effort.
To all staff members, we want to point out that education is the most important cause in the world, and teachers are at its foundation. You all are both educators and reshapers, creating the future of education together, in spite of all the challenges and difficulties ahead.
We sincerely wish the faculty and staff members a happy Teachers' Month. We wish you good health, happiness, and success.
And that marks the end of our podcast.
Once again, I am Chriselle Phoebe BU.
I am Rain Moises Adriatico.
And I am Pamela Heisenclair A. Nardo.
But before we end this podcast, just remember, need a podcast to listen to?
Here's Chismiscinet just for you.